Okay, 16th notes on the hi-hat, a little bit more advanced concepts here. So what we're gonna do on the last page, it was all about putting in 8th note bass drums. Now we're gonna start adding some more snare drums in there. Now this can go between easy and difficult depending on how you do things. So number 1, for example, we're gonna add a snare drum on the and of the 4. This is not that big of a problem because we've been doing the snare drums on the 2 and the 4, which are played by the right hand. So adding the snare drum onto the and of the 4 is still adding a right hand snare drum in, so it shouldn't feel too awkward. So let's try number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 2, we have a little bit bigger of a problem. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna bring the snare drum down on the of the 2. That's gonna be my left hand that's coming down. Most of the times when I see a problem with this, it's because the student is not giving the left hand access to the snare drum from the cymbal. So put yourself in the correct position and start playing and freeze and take a look. Does my left hand have a route to that snare drum, or is it trying to cross over or hit my right hand? If so, simply open up your stance a little bit and make sure that you have a route there. And once you have a route, this shouldn't be that complicated for you. So let's try number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 3, same idea, but let's add that snare drum after it on the E of the 3. That's also going to be a left-handed one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now let's try a double snare. So we'll start with the left hand on the of the 3, and then we'll follow it with the right hand on the 4. So we'll have a 4, a left-right snare drum combination there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5, let's start kind of combining these things. So we'll put a snare drum on the end of the 1, which would be my right hand, and then we'll put a snare drum on the of the 4, which would be my left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Six, we're bringing back that double. So we're got the left hand on the of the 1, followed immediately by the right hand on the 2. And then we're adding a snare drum with the right hand on the E on the and of the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's the biggest thing with the 16th note hi-hats and snares, is just making sure that we've got a path between them. If your left hand can get to the snare and get back up, if your right hand can get to the snare and get back up. And that's what we covered here in the first 6. But there still is one more problem, and that problem is going to be the 16th note bass drums. When we did them before, we were doing 8th note hi-hats, which meant that putting a bass drum on the E or the meant that that was alone. So I played that bass drum without anything else. It was just the bass drum. But when I put my 16th note hi-hats in, it's not the case. When I add the bass drum on the E or the I'm playing a hi-hat with it. And with the E and the that means that I'm playing a left-hand hi-hat with that. That's something we haven't done until this point, is have our left-hand hi-hat play with a right foot bass drum. It's a little bit of an awkward coordination, so it might take a second. Make sure you slow it down and really get comfortable hitting that left hand and that right foot completely together. So number 7, let's put the bass drum on the of the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. 8, let's try it on the E. So we'll put the bass drum on the E of the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9, bass drum on the of the 1 and the E of the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10, bass drum on the E of the 2 and the of the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, awesome job, awesome job. This is a very difficult page. This was a page that I started to see happen with some of my intermediate students, where when we would get to this point in the intermediate book, that they would struggle. They would struggle with the 16th note snares while they're playing 16th note hi-hats, or they would struggle with those 16th note bass drums with the 16th note hi-hats. So I figured it was best to go ahead and just fix the problem right now. So that way when we get to the intermediate book, that this is no longer a problem for you. So if you got through this page and you got through this page relatively easily, you should definitely feel good about it, because this is something that is above where we are right now, but it definitely sets us up to where we don't have this problem in the future. All right, great job. Stick with us. Now let's do some 16th note fills using the bass drum.